안녕하세요, and welcome to the KCCLA Virtual Language and Culture Series. My name is Sean Tavidian, and I'm one of the instructors here at the Korean Cultural Center in Los Angeles. Whether to mark a bountiful harvest, to pay respects towards one's ancestors, or to emphasize the importance of family, holidays in Korea preserve important cultural values and traditions. In this video, we will talk about some of the major Korean holidays and the special customs and foods that accompany these holidays.
Let's begin with the Korean word for holiday, 명절. 명절. One of the most important Korean holidays is chuseok, chuseok, also known as 한가위, 한가위. Chuseok was originally an agrarian holiday that celebrated a bountiful harvest during the autumn equinox. Chuseok falls on the 15th day of the 8th month of the lunar calendar on the full moon. For this reason, it falls on different days on the Gregorian calendar, but usually Chuseok will take place in September or early October. Chuseok lasts for 3 days, with the main holiday falling on the second day. During this time, people often return to their hometowns or gather with extended family to feast on traditional Korean foods and spend time together. During Chuseok, two very important traditions are carried out. The first is 차례, 차례, or ancestor memorial services. For this, a table is prepared with special foods and offerings. In general, this includes fresh fruits, meat, vegetables, freshly harvested rice, and rice cakes. Once the table is set, the family will typically bow toward the table for their deceased ancestors, kneeling down with their forehead to the floor. Another important tradition is 성묘, 성묘, when people visit their family graves and bow in respect to their ancestors. Before 성묘 is carried out, families will visit the gravesite of their ancestor, where they will cut the weeds and tidy up the surrounding area. This ritual is called 벌초, 벌초. This can take place during the end of summer or even the day before 성묘. When it comes to special food eaten during Chuseok, the main one is 성편, 성편, which is a half-moon-shaped rice cake. 성편 contains stuffing made with ingredients such as sesame seeds, black beans, pine nuts, jujubes, and honey. 성편 are steamed over pine needles for an aromatic fragrance, and this is what gives them their name, as 성 means pine tree in Korean. Another common food eaten on Chuseok is 전, which are savory pancakes. There are many varieties of 전, including 파전, which are scallion pancakes, 김치전, or kimchi pancakes, puchu전, or garlic chive pancakes, and so on. As Chuseok is a harvest festival, many fresh fruits are also served and eaten during this time, including Korean pears, apples, jujubes, and persimmons. These days, when visiting relatives' homes, it is common to give each other prepared gift boxes, which contain high-quality fruits, meats, and vegetables. These gift sets are beautifully packaged and are in such high demand that reservations are sometimes even required in advance. As many people live away from their hometowns, Chuseok brings along big traffic jams along the country's highways, and train and long-haul bus tickets for the Chuseok season come on sale months before the actual holiday and sell out within minutes. Now let's take a look at some other vocabulary related to Chuseok. There are a few ways to wish someone happy Chuseok, including 추석 잘 보내세요, 추석 잘 보내세요. This literally means please spend Chuseok well. Another expression is 즐거운 한가위 보내세요, 즐거운 한가위 보내세요, which means have a happy 한가위. As mentioned, the concept of 고향 or hometown is heavily tied to Chuseok. 고향 means hometown. In a broader sense, 고향 can refer to the place you were born or raised, but can also refer to the place from which your ancestors hail. When meeting for the first time, it is common to ask, 고향이 어디예요? Where is your hometown? 고향이 어디예요? And in response, one might say, 고향이 태구예요. My hometown is in Daegu. 고향이 태구예요. Or, 고향이 로스앤젤레스예요. My hometown is Los Angeles. 고향이 로스앤젤레스예요. 고향이 어디예요? 고향이 태구예요. seollal is celebrated in January or February on the second new moon after the winter solstice. It marks the beginning of the new year according to the lunar calendar. Like Chuseok, this holiday also generally lasts 3 days, with New Year's Day falling in the middle. Just like during Chuseok, it is common for family members to gather together and perform the ancestor rites called charie. Many people also dress up in hanbok, which is traditional Korean clothing, and after performing the charie rituals, they enjoy a big feast together. Along with charie, another important tradition for seollal is sebe, which is a ritual of filial piety. Dressed in traditional clothing, children wish their ancestors, including their grandparents, parents, and aunts and uncles, a happy new year by performing a deep traditional bow and wishing them a happy new year by saying 새해 복 많이 받으세요, 새해 복 많이 받으세요, which literally means please receive a lot of good fortune for the new year. The elders will award this gesture by giving children New Year's money or pocket money, sebeton, in silk bags made with beautiful traditional designs called bokjumoney, as well as offering words of wisdom called dokdam. A common dish eaten on seollal is tteokguk, or rice cake soup. This dish carries special meanings during seollal, as eating a bowl of tteokguk marks one's lunar calendar birthday. Once you finish eating your bowl of soup, you are considered 1 year older. Other foods that are prepared for seollal include kalbijim, or braised short ribs, japchae, or sweet potato noodles with meat and vegetables, jeon, Korean pancakes, hangul, which are Korean traditional cookies, and more. After performing the seollal traditions and eating together with the family, it is common to play traditional games including yunori, which is a type of board game involving throwing 4 wooden sticks, and chegichagi, a game which involves kicking a badminton shuttlecock-like object, among others. In addition to Chuseok and seollal, there are a number of national holidays that celebrate important events in Korean history. Some of these include Hamiljeol, or Independence Movement Day on March 1st, Cheonjeol, Constitution Day on July 17th, Kwangbokjeol, National Liberation Day on August 15th, Gaechonjeol, the National Foundation Day of Korea, which takes place on October 3rd, and Hangul, or Korean Alphabet Day, which is a national commemorative day that marks the invention and proclamation of Hangul by King Sejong the Great in the year 1443. Hangul is celebrated on October 9th and has been a national holiday since 1970. In addition, during this day, many Korean language institutes and schools in Korea and around the world celebrate Hangul by holding essay contests for Korean language learners. Finally, let's take a look at a few smaller but still important holidays in Korea. For example, there is Sikmongil, which is Arbor Day and takes place on April 5th, 어린이날, Children's Day, which is celebrated on May 5th, and 어버이날, which is Parents' Day and takes place on May 8th. 현충일, which is Memorial Day and takes place on June 6th, and 국군의 날, Armed Forces Day, which is on October 1st. In the case of 어린이날, the dignity of children and their need for love, care, and respect is highlighted. 어린이날 is a national holiday, and on this day, there are numerous parades and events for children, and many places like exhibits, museums, and zoos offer free admission to children. Now let's review the words and expressions we covered in today's episode. 명절, 명절, 추석, 추석, 한가위, 한가위, 차리에, 차리에, 성묘, 성묘, 벌초, 벌초, 송편, 송편, 전, 전, 추석 잘 보내세요. 추석 잘 보내세요. 즐거운 한가위 보내세요. 즐거운 한가위 보내세요. 고향, 고향, 고향이 어디예요? 고향이 어디예요? 고향이 태국이에요. 고향이 태국이에요. 고향이 로스앤젤레스예요. 고향이 로스앤젤레스예요. 설날, 설날, 세배, 세배. 새해 복 많이 받으세요. 새해 복 많이 받으세요. 세뱃돈, 세뱃돈. 떡국, 떡국. 한글날, 한글날. 어린이날, 어린이날. To wrap up this episode on Korean holidays, we leave you with another Korean proverb, 꽝 대신 딱, which means if you don't have a pheasant, use a chicken for New Year's Day, and it means something like make do with what you have. 꽝 대신 딱. Thank you for joining us for this episode of KCCLA's Virtual Language and Culture Series. If you're in Los Angeles, we hope you'll have the opportunity to visit the Korean Cultural Center Los Angeles at 5505 Wilshire Boulevard in the Miracle Mile. Meanwhile, please visit us online at www.kccla.org and please follow us on social media.